All right, so I'm back here at the Hot Box Gym. It's been a while actually since we've caught up, Cole, and you've been obviously keeping well. We had some nice boxing recently with Boxing 5 promotions. How you been?
I'm glad you didn't say it was a good show because it was an excellent show. No, it's good. I know you were sick last week, so I'm glad to see you on the mend. And also I was overseas traveling for some work and some family stuff as well. Good to be back. I mean, there's just so much we can talk about, but yeah, and the new board been announced. Yeah, I'm very excited. I saw your post as well, very positive. Yeah. And congratulations to Sports Minister Zizi Kodwa for announcing the new board, and Safisa Shongwe, no surprise, is the chairperson. And it just seems to be a lot of good positivity in South African boxing. Shows are happening now, things are moving. And I'm just looking forward to the rest of the year. I mean, we're already nearly halfway through the year. It's incredible.
It is incredible. And I've obviously sitting in on that last press conference, I think you were still traveling back from the United States at the time, and Larry Weinstein actually said he's got another 6 tournaments coming this year. It's quite an ambitious thing. I know you're a partner of Boxing 5 Promotions, so maybe you'll be able to comment on that as well. You know, are we going to be able to get in that many shows before the end of the year?
So we've got 5 shows now left that we mooted to do. I think we can get it over the line. I can't see a problem. We want to keep the ball rolling. We want to keep growing the sport, growing our fighters, growing the platform, growing the brand. It's just incredible how it's just growing and growing. And you look at our socials, how active we are, and people engaging, and just great positive vibes, man. It's just great. And I think we can. I have no reason to think we can't do another 5 events for the year. I really, really don't.
Right, and the last tournament featured a lot of different gyms, a lot of different people, a lot of different personalities. It was a development tournament on Boxing 5 Promotions, main headlined by Becky Maitse. He came up against Busi Ngamu as well, so that was a good fight.
Yeah, it wasn't a good fight. I thought it was just a cracker fight. Ebbs and flows. Each guy had their moments. You know, I sat ringside. I didn't really want to blink between when the rounds were happening. And I just thought, what a phenomenal fight. The kind of 2 guys at different stages of their career. And Becky Maitse, even though I thought he lost, I mean, I had it 6 rounds to 4. I thought the right guy won. But Becky's such a prospect. I think you'll learn so much from that kind of performance. And being so young, he's just got such a great future ahead of him. Vusi's one of the hardened guys. You know, and the reason why I thought he won, I just thought he wanted the rounds more. You know, he edged forward, he was on the front foot. You know, after the first 3-4 rounds, you kind of felt that Becky might be winning, you know, on his way to cruising this fight. But then Vusi closed the gap, started catching with those check hooks on the southpaw position, and really kept Maitse under pressure. Although Maitse had those moments where he'd come back and keep it long and look really, really good, I just felt that Vusi, you know, was nicking those rounds, and that's why I think I thought the right guy won the fight.
I want to talk to No Doubt Management as well, because there was 3 fighters that represented them on the evening. One of them was Frank Sotomela, who's Frank. I mean, that was a great induction for him. Yeah,
he's leveling up now. He's just getting better and better. You know, actually, you were in the office earlier, was off camera when Shannon came in. We were discussing the next move for Frank. But he's leveling up. You know, he's a prospect, but he's not a young prospect. So we've got to get him moving. And obviously now the goal is for us to contest for the South African Flyweight Championship. But if you've seen his last 2-3 performances, he's just getting better and better. For a guy who wasn't bombing them out, so a guy now winning his last 2 fights by stoppage in KO, he's really, really coming into himself. And you've got to give credit to Shannon as well. I think Shannon's doing a really good job. And Frank's charismatic. I mean, who's Frank? I mean, such a act t-shirt to wear. And again, no disrespect to Tabang or Maholi. He buzzed Frank in that second round with that vaunted right hand of his, and it was a great performance from both guys. And I'm just glad that obviously Frank is now moving on, and please God fights for the SA title soon.
Yeah, of course. So Frank Sotomela, of course, you keep your eyes peeled on him. He's starting to knock guys out, as you said. And Almighty Creed Moyo, he's a knockout artist, and you know, he took it up until the last round, but that was a very matured performance, I'd say, from him.
Yeah, I thought he started very fast and maybe a little too fast. And then he kind of lost his way towards the end of the 3rd round, maybe lost the 4th round, I thought. And then when, you know, he came back to the corner and Shannon basically said, listen, get on your jab, get boxing again. Won the 5th round, closed the show in the 6th. And I thought it was a good learning performance from Creed, who obviously still got a very, very long way to go. But definitely a great, exciting prospect for Boxing 5. Good-looking kid, sells tickets, also very charismatic, and he can dig. So 6-0 now, 5 knockouts. He's definitely one that we're building. 23 years old. Yeah, we're going to get him out soon. Soon.
No, he's an exciting talent. He gets the crowd up, knocks guys out. He made the necessary adjustments that he had to in the fight. Let's talk about adjustments. Cleo Kisa, another guy that's just, steamrolling the opponents at the moment.
Yeah, so I mean, biased opinion is my kid, but I love Kat. Kat's also very charismatic, dancing in the ring, crowd going nuts for him. I thought he looked very comfortable at Super Feather, and I think that's the division we're going to be campaigning at. I did want to put him in, and I still want to put him in for a championship towards the end of the year. So maybe what we could do is do one more and then throw him in for a championship, and I think he's ready for that kind of fight. Asanda Gingi, although he's, with the promotion that we don't work with, I think he plays with Asanda Gingi, to be honest with you. I don't even think it's a fight. But hey, having said that, we're not going to really focus too much on the SA title. We'll focus on another route. But having said that, I just think Kat's also one that you have to earmark because he's leveling up. Didn't have much opposition in his last fight, but it was kind of a tester kind of to see how he would perform and make the way to Super Feather. Made it beautifully, and I think he's one to watch in that division for the future, no question.
I was about to say, it gets a bit tricky with the belts because, you got, on one hand, you got a whole bunch of guys expecting an IBF Africa title this year. I mean, there's been a mention of Creed Moyo as well. Kat's been another one of those guys. And then you got the SA title. So, which way do you prefer to steer him? Because as you mentioned, the Asanda Ginki fight is there.
Yeah, it's definitely there. But also remember, I mean, I'm very comfortable now doing SA titles with Boxing South Africa. Remember last year I took a stance that my guys weren't going to test for provincial and national titles because of the old board and the old acting CEO. So things have changed dramatically now. We've got a great new board, new look. Hopefully there's an announcement. I'm sure that Mandla's hopefully going to step up and become CEO. So we're all positive. So with regards to which direction I'd steer a fighter, there are other sanctioning bodies, but obviously I'm an IBF guy, you know that. So let's see. I think obviously now all systems go for our events now scheduled for 13th of July for Boxing 5. But with regards to fighting for SA titles and African championship fights, we're there. We're ready to do this. We're ready to participate, and we're ready to invest in the IBF as Boxing 5, so why not?
And just mentioning the 13th of July, when are we sort of earmarked to hear about the announcement of that tournament and who's going to be taking part on that announcement? When are we expecting to hear that? Yeah,
so I'm going to break the news now. So Arnold Kagi has declined fighting Lerato Dlamini. We were scheduled to do that for Boxing 5, July 13th. We were ready to go. The partners, Rios, Luduma and Larry. We did the numbers. It was working nicely. We had the date set. Lerato was going to be doing it here in Johannesburg for PBC on the IBF 126-pound elimination. We signed our end of the agreement for PBC for Tom Brown. Arnold Kagi has declined. He doesn't want to come to South Africa and fight Lerato Dlamini, cold feet. You want to be the best, you got to come to these kind of territories and fight the best. And he just obviously felt that he didn't want to take the risk. You don't take the risk, you don't get the reward. So that fight is now off. So basically, we're looking at potentially Kane Fourie. We pretty much are locking him in. We're still busy with the undercards right now. And with regards to Lerato, is we have to start the process over again. Kagi will fall below number 10 or 11 for at least 6 months, as per the IBF rules and regulations. And then we will go to the next available contender, who I believe is Tomiki Kamida, which makes things very interesting again. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Lerato is well aware of what's going on. I mean, he's been privy to all the emails and the WhatsApps and the texts and everything, and the contracts he's obviously signed his end for PBC. It's sad in one respect, but I kind of figured that K-Guy might not want to come to South Africa, and he might not want to engage in a South African ring. It's a pity. I've gone to Mexico, I've gone all over the world to compete. And my philosophy is, if you're good enough to win, you're good enough to win. It doesn't matter the environment or where you're at. If you're good enough and you want to be world class, you got to take these kind of risks and opportunities. He didn't. and now he loses the opportunity. So I don't know who's next, but we start the process over. But all things being equal, we go to the next available contender, and we'll have room. We'll get the order from the IBF. We'll have room to negotiate. If we can't negotiate and come to an agreement, we go to a purse bid, which is very interesting because we were scheduled to fight against Komida, and then I withdrew based on my exit clause. And now we're in a position where it's, now we have it potentially, if they agree, for an IBF Eliminator for the mandatory #1 position, which is great.
All right, so you're obviously happy with the outcome because you've done a lot of. You got a Japanese boxing license as well. So you got a, you're very much involved in boxing that side. So I mean, this is should be a seamless transaction.
Well, I mean, obviously they've got to come up with a number that we're all happy with, and if we're not, we'll go to purse bid. But I think it should be smooth sailing, provided, of course, the order is with them. And if it's not, we'll go to the next available contender. But Lorato's next fight will be for the Eliminator. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And Lorato was just very understanding on the process. He knows that I wanted the best deal. Top Rank at the time, who were dealing with me, they lowballed us. I think you know the story. And I said, let's proceed to a purse bid. And they thought that they would walk in and be one of the only bidders to bid for the event. And then all of a sudden, PBC came in. And PBC won the purse bid on my behalf. Then the question was, would we be interested in hosting the fight in Johannesburg, South Africa? And I said, yes. Spoke to the partners of Boxing 5, and I said, this is what's presented to us. And Larry, being Larry, said, listen, we can't not look at it. We have to look at it. You know how Larry is. And then Leduma and Riaz were like over the moon. They were excited. And I said, guys, there's a possibility when the Kagi camp know that it's going to be in South Africa, they might be a bit reluctant to come. Everyone thought this contest was going to happen in America. And in the event that they got the contracts and they saw Johannesburg, South Africa, I think they got cold feet. And that's what happened. Even though with an eliminator, you get neutral officials, they weren't prepared. There might be another story to it. I suspect there might be. But that's the situation. That's the current situation now.
And where does it leave the sort of relationship between the Top Rank, PBC, and all those guys? I mean, are you still on good terms with everyone?
It's business, mate. It is business. I mean, you can't be hard-headed about these things. But I'm not going to undervalue a South African fighter that I represent. So inevitably, this could have been avoided if they just were made a decent offer to Lorato. Yeah. And that's the bottom line.
All right, and okay, so Lorato Dlamini will obviously he'll get his opportunity, and we'll know in the near future what's going on because the camps will have to obviously chat and iron that out.
So we'll have to follow due process with the IBF rules and regulations with the elimination and how it falls in. So that's pretty much what's happening right now, which I suspect is going to happen right now. We'll get the letter, we'll get the order, we'll agree, and they'll go to the next available contender, and then we'll take it from there.
And looking at some of the other guys that are...
Sorry, but I just want to say that
sure.
even so, Lorato is in a very, very strong position right now. He really, really is.
So, I mean, he's going to get the best deal.
Absolutely. This is what it was all about from the beginning, is getting him the best financial compensation for this contest, for the Eliminator, and for him fulfilling his dream of becoming champion of the world. And that's why we turned down the Komida fight, because of that clause. We want him to fight and become champion of the world. He wants it. And that's why we went this route. So yes, we've stalled a little bit in terms of him getting back in the ring. But at the end of the day, if you sit back and you actually look at it from the outside in, you know that I've done the best. He knows that I've done the best deal for him and his interest at heart, no one else's.
All right, yeah. So Lorato Dlamini, obviously, we will follow the news, and we said we'll see as per the process what's going to play out. I just wanted to go back to some of the younger fighters as well. Ishmael Kadri as well has been posting on social media. He's been like relentless on following path with Lorato Dlamini in terms of his training path. What's happening with guys like him?
Yeah, so look, I mean, with regards to Ish, I mean, obviously we're going to get him back out really, really soon. We're busy in the process of putting the undercards together. So before we make the announcements and the contracts are signed and agreed, it's looking likely that he's going to be on our next event. But he's also going to level up. I think we're going to take him to 8 rounds. I'd like him to be fighting for a championship by the end of the year. I think he beats Baichi right now, actually. But again, that might not happen. I know Baichi's scheduled to make a defense. I think I read somewhere on Ink Sports. But let's see. You know, let's see how that all plays out. But he's a young, good kid. He's another kid who's leveling up, just getting better and better, creating a nice following. Even in Joburg, he's got a good following. So very, very excited about him and his future. And, you know, again, he's one of my babies. I love the kid to bits.
Sure. Yeah, Ishmael obviously 7-0 now, posting about going 8-0, so he's always on the constant on the get up. And then you got like young Joshua Feltman as well, who you mentioned at the beginning you're going to take it slow with, and but he is developing. He got a stoppage in his last fight. He's proving something.
Yeah, slowly with Josh. I mean, he's still 19, turning 20 soon, and he's the baby of the team. And yeah, I am taking it slowly with him, but I think the world of his ability. I think he's got beautiful technique. He's got that hunger and fire within him. And I also think that he's got a lot of potential. The thing is, you don't want to rush a potential talent like that too quickly. And that's why, and I've told him, we're going to take it slowly. You know, if it's just 4 rounders for now, maybe we could look at doing a 6th round at the end of the year. But right now, I'm very happy the way he's growing and developing. And every time you see him get in the ring, he's performing better and better. Defensively, his position, his timing of his shots. And I'm very, very impressed with his development. So that's why I'm saying I'm very happy the pace that he's going. And we're also looking at bringing him out really, really soon as well.
All right. Is there any different announcements that you're coming back with?
I think for now, that's kind of where we're at. I think the next announcement will be on, you know, we are looking at bringing Kane back very, very quickly, potentially now as our main event. There is a championship that we're busy dealing with and negotiating. There are 2 potential opponents that Gert and I are in talks with at the moment, subject to the sanction approval from the championship that we're going to be dealing with. But again, Kane Fourie is one of those very, very exciting fighters for South African boxing. 21 years old, best 45-degree angle left hook in the country. Big shout out to Gert and his team, Neil and the boys, and Donnie. I love the kid. I'm drawn to him. I think he's got a lot of potential. Again, he's another kid that he's been fast-tracked and he's highly rated in BoxRec, because I know you love BoxRec. You're one of those guys. But again, you know, he's got to develop still. So we are looking at 2 potential opponents. We're in talks at the moment. And I think that'll probably be the next interview of you and I, or Gert and you with Kane. But very excited about him. And we are looking at bringing him out for our next event, potentially the headline. And that's pretty much all that I can say for now. Unless you have anything else.
No, actually, while you were speaking, I actually just remembered, news has gone quiet on this, but Sivanati Nonshinga. Unification talks. I saw that Araneta got an injury, so they've been very quiet and not trying to push a fight now, because obviously they've got their own agendas that they want to push.
And Gonzalez just dicked everyone around. He was like, I want to fight this one. And
he fights no one.
Yeah, so he's a waste of time. I'm not even going to entertain him anymore. He's still putting on Twitter all the shit that he wants to fight the champion. Oh, whatever. So Araneta's out for 6 months. That's been confirmed by the IBF. Either we're pushing for Taraji, which could happen this year, or we do our mandatory against Jabuki. So either way, we're going to be in the ring fighting soon. And I think Sivanati beats both guys. I do. Both are murderous punches, particularly Jabuki, but stylistically. And Taraji's last fight against Canizales, you can see the cracks, you can see the wear and tear. So either Taraji moves up, which screws everything up for us, but I know I was speaking to Mr. Honda, he wants to unify, and the only way he will stay at 108 is for him to unify, and Gonzalez has dicked them around as well. So if there's any champions unifying in the 108, it's Taraji Nonshinga or Nonshinga Taraji, and I want that fight.
Sivanati, the special one. He's the one guy that can do it as well. He's really good.
I'm that confident that we win this fight. Not easy, and we'll do it in Japan. I'm not scared going on the road. If my kids are good enough to perform and win, they must do it. They must go into hostile territory, and they can, and they will win.
Right, I got you. And that's Sivanati Nonshinga right there in a nutshell there. Came back 2-time IBF world champion at the age of 25. Cole, just lastly, do you want to give any thank yous and shout outs?
Just thank you to you. I listened to your commentary with Heiki. Great. Just phenomenal. I think the show's getting better, the product's getting better, the production's getting better. And also to my partners, Boxing 5, Larry Riaz, Ludumo, it's just lovely working with you gents. And just thanks for you for giving everyone an equal footing and equal platform. And it's just great to see boxing in the country being back to semi-normal.